Oh, I look a little messy. Cleaning my hands. Oh, yeah. Hey, what's up, people? Got a glove up. I wiped my hands down with rubbing alcohol before I put my gloves on, and it made my hands a little sticky. See if anybody shows up today. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Saturday Staining. Got some Uwara and some Bokin and Wasters to tung oil up. And I've got some steaks that I'm going to be staining. Feel free to drop any questions you got in the chat. This is mostly just for me to not be bored while I do this. This is the taper Uwara that I make in my shop. You don't see these in most places. Actually, I've never seen it anywhere else. This is a red oak design. You go put this in the dry room. I'll be right back. Whew. And actually pretty excited for these. This is Bubinga. I got a couple of pieces of Bubinga from one of my vendors and decided to make a couple of Uwara out of them. Ooh, I may have to break out another thing of tung oil. But feel free to drop any questions you got in the chat while I'm doing this. Give me something to talk about. Yeah, these are going to be pretty, these Bubinga ones. Once the tung oil cures on these, I'll be cording these up on my live tomorrow when they look a little prettier. Once they're all dried and cured. Be right back. That's a glizzy. I have no idea what that is. These are called a lot of things. Uwara, Colpo, palm stick. Some people call them Kubotans, but that's not exactly accurate. The Kubotan is a specific design that was made by Takboda back in the day. But you can call it whatever you want. All right. Be right back. Woot. And these here are ipe, which is one of my favorite woods to make Yawara out of because it is very strong. I gotta get some of this tung oil down in the holes here. That's funny, Austin. Hello, Mr. Hernandez. Welcome to my tung oil and staining party. All right, let me go put this one up. Be right back. I got 3 of these to get done. Hey Jason, how's it going, everybody? Just doing some, as the name of the live suggests, this is my Saturday staining session where I do the tung oil and staining on all the projects I got done this morning. And then I go live on Sundays when I do cording and cord wrapping and all that fun finishing work. Is this not safe for work? No, I'm pretty sure it's safe for work. I don't know. It depends on what you do for a living. I don't know. It's wood staining. I'm pretty sure that's safe for work. I don't know. I mean, technically, I'm at work, so. You want to be stained next? That's funny. I gotta make sure I get the stain in the holes, you know. Not yours. Your wood is ready. Thanks for that, Emily. How many am I doing? Well, this is it on the Yawara. I had 3 ipe and 2 bubinga, and then I've got a gigantic odachi boken I'm gonna do next, and a broadsword waster, and then I got a custom boken that I did for a customer that I've got to do after that, and then I got a few stakes. I'm making a 3 stake set that I'm staining after those. So that's everything I'll be doing today. Be right back. And this here is a custom Shoto boken that I had a customer contact me and ask for earlier this week on the shop website. And you can, if you were interested in the custom order on my shop's website, warriorwoodandprops.com, there is a little button up at the top on the home page where you can contact me. It'll send me an email. Let me know what you want. I'll give you an estimate. The most expensive wood I stain, probably this. I'll show you in a sec. I've got white ash, which right now is crazy expensive because here in the US you can't really get it because we've got this beetle from like Asia that came over here and decimated most of the ash forests. And luckily for me, I had a vendor of mine, they had a storm in their area and some ash trees got down by the storm, so they were able to harvest the wood. I try not to buy like ash if it's from like a mill because it's so rare right now. I just don't want to contribute to that problem. Be right back. Probably time for a new rag. Actually, you know what? I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab my other thing of tung oil because this one's about empty. Just in case. I'll show you this next one. This is white ash. It's an Odachi. No, they are not chill in the comments. That's all right. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. Everybody, I'm just glad you're here. But this is a crazy big Odachi boatkin. It's a Subarito. It's based on the Musashi ore style, and it is made from white ash, and it is a big boy. He's chunky. Smash that like button. Yes, please. Please smash that like button. Just, don't break it. We're going to need it. So, you can smash it. Just don't smash it too hard. All right. Wow. Good God, that thing is big. I don't know. I just wanted to see if I could do it. I haven't made an Odachi in a while. Or a Tachi, depending on what you want to call it. But yeah, it's a Musashi ore. White ash. Tachi, it's about 4 feet long, 12-inch handle. All right, be right back. And then the last one on the tung oil side, I've got this broadsword waster. The biggest thing I've ever stained. God, what is the biggest thing I've ever stained? I have to think on that one. Probably my Monkey King cudgels, to be honest with you. I make these 6 foot long Monkey King cudgels out of poplar, and they've got studs on them. Matter of fact, I'm going to be doing one of those tomorrow on my live stream. I've got one. I was going to do it last week, but ran out of studs, so I had to wait until I could get more studs, which I have this week. So those are about 6 feet long. I stain those with I give them a dark stain. I don't really do tung oil on those. Yeah, this is the broadsword waster. I actually changed the design on this just this week because I make these usually for people who do SCA, Boo Hurt, Armored Combat, HEMA, and some of my Armored Combat / Boo Hurt guys said they needed it to be a little heavier and a little beefier. So I added about 1/4 inch to the width of the blade and made the handle a little chunkier. So the blade's now 2 inches wide. At its widest point, it tapers just slightly to the end so that it has good balance. And it's 3 feet long with a 9-inch handle. All right. Be right back. Whew. That is it for the tung oil. I gotta clean this up. Guess I didn't need that other can of tung oil after all. I do, well, tung oil is treating technically. But yeah, some of them I treat with tung oil. It depends on what they're going to be used for. If it's a cosplay item, I normally just use stain. I do have some times when I have custom orders where they want to stain and they want it treated, and I will do that too. Matter of fact, I made a bow staff for a guy in the UK last year. He wanted his stained and tung oiled, so it just takes longer because you have to stain the wood and you have to really let it sit for like 3 or 4 days because that stain has to be completely cured before you put the tung oil on it. So I stained it, let it sit for like 4 days, and I put tung oil on it and cord wrap the center and send it out to him. But yeah, I do both. It kind of depends. Like I said, it depends on what it's going to be used for. If it's going to be used for fighting or combat, I either use tung oil or mineral oil. It really depends. Sometimes the Boohurt guys, the Armored Combat guys, for the most part, I know not everybody knows what Boohurt means, but the Armored Combat guys, they tend to prefer the mineral oil over the tung oil. Mineral oil doesn't, you can reapply it. It makes the wood kind of like moist, I guess is the best word to use, so that when you smack it against something, it has a tendency to dent instead of crack. So they like that better. But most people want tung oil, so that's what I do most of the time. Hey, Albert, welcome. Oh, you work at a wood mill? Nice. Yeah, I make stuff out of all sorts of different woods. I've got purple heart, zebra wood, padauk, ash, bubinga, ipe. Kind of depends. I used to do stuff out of black walnut, but I don't do that quite as much anymore because I developed a sensitivity to juglone, which is a chemical that's in it's a naturally occurring chemical that's in walnut, and you can develop kind of an allergy to it, so I stopped working with that. But no, I work with all different kinds of woods. I'll be right back. Let me put this away and we will stain these steaks. So, funny story on these steaks. The reason I'm making these is I got ripped off by a vendor on Amazon last year. Towards the end of last year, I ordered some what were supposed to be staff blanks, and guess what they sent me? They sent me a freaking pack of broomsticks. So they were not the blanks I thought I bought. So instead of I couldn't really return them because it was going to cost me just as much to return them. So I'm cutting them up and making steak sets out of them. So I'm going to do a 3 steak set. I'll stain these up, and then tomorrow I'll cord wrap the handles. So for these, I do, for most of my steaks, I do Jacobean or Jacobine. Again, I don't know how that word is pronounced. I think I say this every time I live stream. I have no idea how it's pronounced. I say Jacobean because I have no idea how that word is said. So I probably should look that up at some point. But it's a nice dark stain, and it distresses well if I need to distress something, so to make it look like used and worn. So it works out. Oh, there it is. Vampire steaks are one of the other things I make in my shop that I sell a lot of. I have all sorts of vampire steaks. I have them from simple to very complicated kinds of vampire steaks. So Halloween is kind of like Christmas part 1 for my shop, because that's when most people's holiday season starts in like November. Mine starts in September because I start selling like crazy for Halloween around September. And then I go straight from Halloween to Thanksgiving, straight from, Black Friday, all that stuff, and then straight from that to the holiday season. Oh, wait, oops. I should probably mix that before I start using it. That would be why I brought this tongue depressor. So feel free to drop any questions you have in the chat there, fam, and I will answer them while I mix this. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I know this probably isn't the most exciting thing in the world to watch. A chubby middle-aged man, staining wood, but I appreciate you hanging out with me. I learned the hard way early on. You really got to make sure you mix your wood stain. I had one time I bought some wood stain. I wasn't thinking. I didn't mix it. And I was making a custom bat, and I went to put it on the bat, and I'm like, this stain is like horrible. It's hardly like changing the color of the wood at all. And I realized that was because I didn't mix it. And I mixed it, tried again, and lo and behold, it worked. Sometimes you gotta learn things the hard way. I find that for me, that's 90% of the lessons I learn are usually the hard way. Alrighty then. Here we go. But you were asking about treating the wood earlier. I do have some blanks that I use mostly for boken that they're already treated when I receive them. Like I have these pressure treated blanks that are hickory or European beech. They're pressure treated, so they are strong as hell. Basically the same stuff. They're basically the same blanks that they use to make stuff like axe handles and sledgehammer handles and stuff like that. So, but I find they also work really well for making boken that don't break. Because in my shop, that's pretty much like my biggest selling point for the boken in my shop is my boken do not break. And if they do break, it's usually after a very long time. As a matter of fact, all the boken I make in my shop are guaranteed. If they break when they're not supposed to break, I will replace them at no cost. And that's only in the last 3 years that I've been doing this with this shop. I've only ever had that happen once. And come to find out, the guy was using a striking dummy made out of iron pipe. So, like steel pipe with no padding on it, which, yeah, if you smack wood against a steel pipe, it's going to crack or break. But I replaced it anyway, just because, and kind of, I used it to be, I try to turn stuff like that into teaching moments. So I gave him some instructions on how to pad his striking dummy so he didn't break his wasters so much. But yeah, in the last 3 years, I've only ever had one person come back to me with a boken and say, hey, this broke when I feel like it shouldn't have. And it was that guy. So my boken are strong, and so are my wasters. Because I take damn good care of my wood. I sand up most of my stuff to 1,000 grit, sometimes 3,000, depending on what it's going to be used for. And it is given a double tung oil finish. If it's going to be used for striking, like for HEMA or SCA or Armored Combat, I do a tung oil immersion of the striking end so that it gets completely saturated. But for the most part, I do a double tung oil finish. Make sure the wood stays strong, or I completely saturate it with mineral oil, depending if it's custom order for one of my people that uses it for competition practice. I'll use whatever they want. They tend to want the mineral oil, which is really literally it's just Old English lemon scented mineral oil, which I always find funny because they make jokes about it that my wasters show up smelling lemon fresh, but hey, they don't break. They may smell like lemons, but they do not break. Woot woot! All right, everybody. I think that's everything I needed to stain today. But I have got a ton of stuff to cord wrap tomorrow. I've got a Buffy steak that I need to re-cord wrap because for some reason the wrap slipped off of it. Not sure why that happened, but I'm not going to sell it that way, so I'm going to re-wrap that, make sure that looks good. I'm going to be cording up all the Yawara that you saw today. I will be cord wrapping that 3 steak set that you just saw. I will be cord wrapping 2 sets of the Nightwing sticks. And fun fact, I'm making a battle bat, a custom battle bat for a horror movie influencer named Nugs the Final Girl. And after I'm done here, I'm going to do the last bit of painting on her bat. And then tomorrow, I'm going to be hammering gigantic spikes into it. And it should be ready for her. She wanted a big spiky bat. All right, hang on. You guys want to see the spikes? Check out these spikes. So I'll be hammering 8 of these big spikes into the bat so that it has nails sticking out of it, kind of like the bat from Stranger Things. Yeah, and it's going to say Nugs the Final Girl on one side and something like So Long Meatball or something like that on the other. I can never remember what the other side says. But I'm going to be painting that up today. Tomorrow, we're going to hammer these in, and that's going to get done. Should look good, I think. My only concern is I've done so much work on this bat. The last part is hammering in these nails. I figure I got about a 50-50 chance of the bat not splitting when I hammer these nails through. I drilled holes for the nails, and I think that will help not split the bat when I hammer them through, but it's always a risk. So we're going to find out tomorrow if this works or if I have made a catastrophic error in judgment. We're going to find that out tomorrow. So come hang out with me. If you want to see me fail catastrophically, come hang out tomorrow. It'll be great. It's a good time. Well, if you got any questions for me while I clean up, feel free to drop those in. I would be glad to answer them. I'm going to go put this stuff away. Be right back. Whew. Anyway, I do go live every Saturday when I do my staining. I would go live when I'm working, but when I'm working on this stuff, I've got a belt sander running. I've got 2 air scrubbers and a shop vac all running at the same time. And I feel like all you would get is just a cacophony of noise while you're trying to watch me work. And I don't feel like that would be real enjoyable for anyone to watch. So I figure it's probably better to do it when it's quiet and when I can actually pay attention to the chat and answer questions, because it's really hard to pay attention to the chat when I'm trying to grind out stuff on the belt sander or run my planer or any of that kind of stuff. All right, let's see. There you go. And then I'll go ahead and set this up while we're doing this. Because the next thing I'm going to be doing, I'm not going to do it on the stream just because I don't want to accidentally get paint on camera. I've got these Nightwing sticks that I need to finish painting. I was painting them yesterday and ran out of spray paint right as I got to the end, so I'm gonna have to repaint these. Or not repaint them, but at least paint the spot that hasn't been painted yet. And these are rattan. I cord wrapped the ends with an electric blue paracord, and they look like Nightwing's Eskrima sticks. Which, believe it or not, oddly enough, a lot of people that practice Eskrima are big Nightwing fans. So I sell a lot of these rattan ones. I've only made like 3 sets, and I've already sold all 3. So I'm making 2 sets at a time this time because I can't keep these in stock. I originally made these as a custom order for a client and in New York, and I always make 2 usually when I do a custom order, unless it's something I know I can do without messing it up. And so I sold the second one on eBay. It was gone within a day. So I've got I think I've got 2 more. I got 1 more set of the rattan after these. So probably have to order more of the rattan. Oh, the typo. I was trying to read what excremakbe means, but it's an interesting word. So anyway, be right back. I got one last thing I got to pull in here, and then I'll have to end the stream so I can start painting. Oh, this is the bat for nugs. You can see the holes drilled in it. And I'm going to put these decals on it. And then what I will do is spray paint over the decals. And then I'll remove the decals, and it makes like a reverse stencil. So, and then once that dries, I'm going to leave it hang up overnight. And then tomorrow, first thing in the morning when I come in, I'm going to hammer those spikes through these holes and pray that I don't destroy this bat that I have been working very hard on for the last 3 weeks. I swear to God, if I destroy this bat, I'm going to be so upset. But I don't know. I feel like I got a 50-50, so flip a coin for me. Anyway, I'm going to put the decals on this after I end the stream and then get started with my painting. And then I'm going to go home. And tonight I am going to go with the family and go see Thunderbolts in the theater tonight. So that's my plan. But anyway, chat, unless you got any more questions for me, I'm going to go ahead and end things. I will be on tomorrow morning. I usually come online sometime between 7:30 a.m. And I'm on for about an hour and a half while I cord wrap everything. You're welcome to join me in the morning. Thank you for hanging out with me. I know this isn't the most exciting thing in the world to watch, so I do appreciate the company. And I appreciate the likes and subscribes. Take care, everyone. I'll see you in the morning. Bye.